Welcome to Mastery of English. Today we're doing something absolutely incredible in this explainer on the human circulatory system. We're going to mentally shrink ourselves down, literally to the size of a single microscopic blood cell. Our mission? To embark on this fantastic adventure through the human body, mastering some truly incredible science concepts, and leveling up our essential English vocabulary at the exact same time. Get ready, because it's going to be a wild ride. So think about this for a second. Every single minute of your life, a tiny drop of your blood completes an absolute marathon. It races through your heart, visits your lungs, delivers life-saving oxygen to your organs, and then just returns to do it all over again. But have you ever wondered exactly where it goes, or, how it knows the way? Well, let's follow one drop of blood on its amazing adventure right now.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our itinerary for today. First, what is blood? Then, the heart's powerful pump. Next, journey to the lungs, delivery to the body, some amazing facts and myths, and finally, we'll test your knowledge. We'll trace the blood's path step by step and pick up some key English vocabulary as we go.
Section 1. What is blood? So, before our tiny drop can even begin its journey, we kind of need to examine exactly what travel gear it's actually carrying.
Blood is that red liquid carrying essential nutrients throughout the body. A great example sentence here would be, the blood delivers energy to the brain. Now, the movement of this blood, that's called circulation. Like exercise improves your blood circulation. This incredible delivery system is made up of four main components. First, we have the red blood cells. Think of these guys as the cargo ships. Then the white blood cells. They act as your body's personal security team, constantly fighting off infection. Next up are the platelets, the tiny little medics that clump together to heal cuts and stop bleeding. And finally, plasma. That's the yellowish liquid base that acts sort of like a river, carrying all these cells along.
Moving on to Section 2, the heart's powerful pump. All right, our drop of blood is geared up and ready to move. We shrink down, jump in, and immediately approach this relentless pump. It's located right in the middle of your chest, leaning just slightly to the left, and it's roughly the size of your fist.
To really understand this pump, we need our next major English vocabulary words, atrium and ventricle. The heart is basically divided into rooms, right? We call these chambers. An atrium is a top receiving chamber, while a ventricle is a bottom pumping chamber. To lock in that English comprehension, let's use them in an easy sentence. Blood enters the atrium before it is squeezed out by the powerful ventricle. Let's move to and see how this builds across the four chambers. First, returning blood enters the right atrium. It then drops down into the right ventricle. Later on, it'll return to the left atrium and finally drop into the massive left ventricle. Now, to keep traffic moving in the right direction, the heart uses one-way doors called valves. A valve controls the flow of a liquid. For example, the valve closed tightly to keep the blood flowing forward.
Section 3. Journey to the lungs. Okay, so we've entered the right side of the heart, but our blood drop is currently oxygen poor. It's totally exhausted and just carrying waste. So the right ventricle gives a massive squeeze, and we are blasted out of the heart through the pulmonary artery, heading straight toward the lungs.
Once we actually reach the lungs, we enter these tiny air sacs called alveoli. And here, this completely magical exchange happens through a process called diffusion. This is where we need two absolutely vital vocabulary words, carbon dioxide, which is the waste gas, and oxygen, the life-giving gas. You could say, the body breathes out carbon dioxide and breathes in oxygen. So, how does the blood actually hold on to that oxygen? Well, that brings us to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a special protein inside red blood cells that acts like a giant magnet for oxygen. An easy example sentence is, the hemoglobin in her red blood cells picked up oxygen from her lungs.
Section 4. Delivery to the body. Bright red and fully loaded with fresh oxygen, our drop of blood is ready for delivery. It travels back from the lungs via the pulmonary veins and enters the left side of the heart. The left atrium receives it, drops it into the heavily muscled left ventricle, and boom, it gets launched under incredibly high pressure out of the aorta, which is the body's absolute largest blood vessel, and it just rockets toward the organs.
Eventually, these large vessels branch off into smaller and smaller pathways until we hit the ultimate destination, the capillary. A capillary is the smallest type of blood vessel, used for tiny, microscopic deliveries. To practice our English, you could say, oxygen passes through the thin walls of the capillary to feed the muscle. This tiny delivery network is where the real work happens, dropping off oxygen and nutrients while simultaneously collecting waste from the body's cells.
And this brilliantly illustrates the two-way highway system of our body. arteries versus veins. Arteries are thick, muscular tubes that carry high-pressure blood away from the heart. You could say the artery pulses with every heartbeat. Veins, on the other hand, are vessels that carry blood back to the heart. An example is, the veins in his hand looked blue. After hitting the capillaries, our drop of blood enters the veins, traveling smoothly back up through the massive superior and inferior vena cava, heading right back to where we started.
Let's recap that as one smooth, continuous journey. Our drop of blood starts at step 1 in the right heart, gets pumped to step 2, the lungs, to get oxygen. Then over to step 3, the left heart, which blasts it all the way out to step 4, the body. After dropping off its cargo, it returns in step 5 right back to the right heart. This continuous, unbroken cycle is exactly what keeps every single cell in your body alive right now.
Section 5. Amazing Facts and Myths. So now that we've mapped the journey and mastered the vocabulary, it's time to transition into some of the most surprising, totally mind-blowing elements of this biological system. Look at this number, 100,000. That is roughly how many times your heart beats every single day. And, get this, if you took all the blood vessels in your body, the arteries, the veins, and those tiny capillaries we talked about, and laid them end to end, they could wrap around the Earth more than twice. No way, right? What's even crazier is that when you are resting, a single red blood cell completes this entire body-wide circuit in just 1 minute.
Let's also bust some very common circulation myths. Have you ever been told that blood inside your veins is blue? Well, actually, scratch that. It's totally a myth. Human blood is never actually blue. It's just a really dark red when it's oxygen poor. Also, people tend to think all veins carry oxygen-poor blood and all arteries carry oxygen-rich blood. But remember our journey. The pulmonary veins carry oxygen-rich blood back from the lungs, and the pulmonary arteries carry oxygen-poor blood away from the heart. They are the great exceptions to the rule.
Section 6. Test your knowledge. All right, focused learners, it is time to challenge you. We're going to do a really quick active recall quiz to test your retention of both the incredible science and the English vocabulary we've covered in this explainer.
Here's your first question. Think back to the start of our journey. Which chamber of the heart receives the returning oxygen-poor blood from the rest of the body? Take a second, lock in your answer in your head. If you said the right atrium, you are absolutely correct. It is that top receiving chamber on the right side of the heart.
Let's try one more for sure. Think about the tiniest delivery network in the body. What exactly are capillaries used for? Think about it.
Fantastic. They are used for oxygen delivery, nutrient exchange, and waste collection. It's literally the only place where the vessel walls are thin enough for this life-saving trade to happen. You've really mastered this topic.
I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought as we wrap up. Remember how long it takes for a blood cell to complete one resting circuit? Just 1 minute. So think about how many complete journeys your blood has made just since this explainer started. Every single heartbeat starts another incredible journey. Without you even noticing, your blood is out there delivering oxygen, carrying nutrients, and removing waste. It's absolutely one of the most amazing systems in nature, and it's keeping you alive second by second. If you enjoyed today's science journey, don't forget to like this explainer, subscribe to Mastery of English, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another lesson. Continue your language and science journey with us. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next science adventure.